after I graduated, I started focusing on Linux.
Yeah.
Maybe because you learn about how to solve issues that you probably may have in the future, in your professional life, let's say like that. So I use Linux.
Yeah, I think we should like being open source, etc. It seems to me like it would make more sense. Um, but yeah, for one reason or another, that's not what we use. So right, I'm just getting everything ready. Got too many windows open as always. Go over there. Okay, get rid of that. Get rid of that. Okay, let's try that. So what I am currently looking at, trying to work on, figure out, is so you obviously familiar with our onboarding process at the moment, right? So you come on to contributors.gitlab.com. And I'm logged in, so it won't let me. But then you basically click start onboarding. We tell you a little bit about what to expect, and then you hit request access. Um, After you do that, it then will generate an onboarding issue, something like this.
Yeah, so like the one Ariana approved me. Yeah, I understand.
Exactly. Yep. So, and that process takes a couple of minutes. There's lots and lots of tick boxes, and yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Um, but what we're sort of looking at, what we want to do, what we've been sort of thinking about is the kind of one of the primary goals and purposes of us building this contributor platform in the first place was to start to recognize non-code contributions. So, on this leaderboard here, we can actually see that um, the the second place on the leaderboard is currently someone who has kind of got some bonuses. That wasn't the one that I was looking.
I wanted to ask about it. Those bonuses are related to what?
So we can go into a profile to look at more information. So this is actually issues that have got community bonuses on them.
Oh.
Um, so it's where a team really wants the community to work on something so much that they've apply a bonus. So we can
I
click on
understand. So you can like give. I understand now. I
exactly,
understand.
exactly. So but that
That's
what was
why when I yesterday Ariana shared in an issue like a curated issues list for the hackathon, and that's why I saw that some of them had a label
awesome.
community bonus, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, exactly. So the what I actually was trying to find was this is a better example of someone that basically does translations. They don't do code contributions, they just make translations. Um, so, and then, although most of these people have got other forms of contribution as well, we've got some who are really active on the forum and active on Discord, helping other community members out, etc. So we do recognize other forms of contribution. So what we want to try and do is rather than this all kind of focusing on somewhere we say about finding development environment. Yeah, so pick your development environment, etc., which
Yeah, what
is
you're trying to tell me is that the issue that is created is more focused on development, even though you are trying to encourage other
exactly.
people who don't
Yeah.
develop. Yeah, I understand.
And even like I think we have experimented in the past with this, but it's already big.
Yeah.
There's a lot on there, and like one of the considerations was, well, we could just add information about other kinds of contribution, but it's just going to get bigger and bigger. So what we're
But
go
let me just interrupt you just one moment. In the end, that is markdown, no? I mean,
Mhm.
the file is a markdown.
Correct, yeah.
Can we do something like how can I say this?
I mean, you're thinking like the collapse
Yeah,
sections, yeah.
like collapse. And for example, it can says development contributions and a collapse, translation contributions and a collapse. I mean, I don't know if that's the ideal, but it just came to my mind.
No, that could be a simpler approach. What I've just kind of started exploring, and I think there's a few different ways we can leverage this, right? Essentially, when you click start onboarding, I want to ask a few
Ah,
questions.
okay. I I
Uh,
I think it's a better approach.
the only slight sort of disadvantage of this is that or what would I call it, like an obstacle. We have to be careful. Like the more steps, the more clicks, the more obstacles, essentially, the less people are going to get as far as kind of clicking this button, if that makes sense. So we'll make sure it's all optional. And, if people don't want to tick anything or fill anything out, they can just go the old route. But
And but one question, which will be the goal of the recent input?
yeah, so definitely all the wordage, and at the moment I'm starting to build what I would call more of a proof of concept. But the reason, so for example, we have co-create. I don't know if you're familiar with our co-create, where we um, kind of partner with a customer, and we'll send an engineer to spend some time with the customer, and they'll send some of their engineering team to kind of onboard and contribute to GitLab. So during those workshops, for example, we might get 12 engineers from some company. I don't know who it might be, but Debian, I think, is that they use GitLab, so they might send all of a sudden we've get a load of onboarding requests, and if they can say I'm part of the Debian co-create, for example, or just a message for us so we know who they are. At the moment, we're partnering with, I think, like a university in America. So we're getting a lot of onboarding
Yeah,
requests
it's
from
like to get some random info,
some,
something like that.
yeah, just some context. So
For
the other,
example, I would simply write there something like I am eager to contribute to a big platform like GitLab or something like that.
exactly. So it can be fairly generic. The other thing that we have, this isn't the perfect example. I'm just going to have a look if we've got any issues that aren't
All
labeled.
of this is built with Ruby, no?
So it's Ruby in the back end and Vue.js, so kind
Yeah,
of
yeah, I
JavaScript
know
in the
we use
front end.
Vue. I know
Yeah.
we use Vue in the front. Okay.
So another example would be when you go to label an issue. Um, if you aren't already onboarded, it will come up with a message to say you need to onboard um, in order to be able to label issues and work on issues and close issues, etc. So um, we that could be another good reason. Like maybe we would even pre-populate that message if you come through this channel with something along the lines of I'm looking to work on an issue. And I mean that could be another nice thing actually. We could um, just having that conversation has helped. We could even have, I forget how you do it. You can attach a data list, I think. Data list. Hey, Jim.
One.
Haley. I screwed up my alarms this morning, so
It's all good. It's all good. Um, Put a few examples there. The AI is good, but not that good sometimes. Um, can I tie this? That's the problem when I'm using the bootstrap thing and I'm trying to combine the bootstrap thing with with plain old HTML.
how did
Uh,
you get your screen so tall?
so I only share part of my screen.
Okay.
Um, so I don't know what this is going to do to the stream, but if I share my whole screen or go back
Oh,
to
so you're just
sharing
showing half of
part
it.
of my screen, it pretty much, yeah, give or take. So list list equals reason. Does that work? Yeah, nice. Um, so we could provide a few examples. Um, so yeah, I think it's nice to ask them just a an open question, as well as like, yeah, what are the kind of contributions that they might be making? It would be documentation, development, translation.
I suppose that if in languages I select, for example, Golang, then in the issue generated assigned to me, you will link the main Golang projects, no?
Exactly, exactly. And what I would like to do as well is store this information on your profile. So you know, or you may not know that we've got the issue finder. This could even use that information that you've provided,
Okay.
which again, like this, just proof of concept at the moment because I do need to figure out exactly what kind of questions we should be asking. But this is another interesting one. It's like back end, front end. Like we could ask rather than specifically for languages, we could ask about back end or front end. But if somebody ticks Ruby on Rails, then we could by default, when they go to this screen, we could filter for like backend. But if they tick JavaScript, we could filter for front end or something along those. Just some ideas that we started to throw around. This is something that actually I've wanted to do since the beginning. I think I referred to it as like a wizard at first was what I had in mind as sort of so maybe rather than one big form it might be like steps where you kind of answer a question and then onto the next step and answer a few more questions because I think the dependencies I don't love, and I don't think many other people love it when you have a screen like this, where when you tick one box, it sort of shows and hides another section. I think that's a reasonably poor user experience. I think what might be marginally better is if you um, don't select this and you hit continue or next or whatever, then it will just submit. If you do select that, and then it will go onto another screen, which will then ask you these questions. Um,
Try and pull in the people from the paper cuts team.
okay, great.
The reason I say that is there's one in particular that I'm blanking on her name right now. But she would be able to help a lot, and you want to make sure that there's a good user experience.
Absolutely.
Um, oh, what's her name?
I've got a feeling Paper Cuts has just been um, disbanded, but I think they've just kind of joined forces or rebranded or whatever you want to call it. I wish I could remember. I saw GitLab Paper Cuts.
I can picture her and everything. I just cannot remember her name.
Tori. and Valerie are like the managers, I guess. Um,
Vanessa.
um, Vanessa Otto, is it?
Yes, I think
Oh,
that's
awesome. So I was collaborating with Vanessa. She's on the workflow catalog team. And I was doing like that AI agent stuff. So yeah, she's awesome. Cool. Yeah, no, we'll definitely get some sort of feedback and direction from her or the team. So
because
go on, yeah.
that that work should also probably be combined with GitLab onboarding because I just onboarded Git a user for GitLab itself,
Mm.
and that workflow was not skippable at all.
No, it's yeah, I know it's not fun. Because that's it's kind of a prerequisite for contributing to GitLab. Not exactly, but it kind of is. So technically you can translate without having a GitLab account. You could do stuff on the forum, you could do stuff on Discord. So there's a couple of options, but it won't be recognized in the contributor platform. I think you're aware of this, that the kind of primary user source of truth, let's call it, is GitLab users.
Right.
So we rely on you kind of linking your Discord user to your GitLab user, or linking your crowd-in translation user to your GitLab user, or linking your forum account to your GitLab user. So yeah, we very much rely on that. And I think it was our like first time contributor study that we did like probably between like 2 and 3 years ago. And many of them even got stuck because like during that onboarding process, like you sometimes have to do an SMS verification. I think sometimes you have to even do like a credit card verification, maybe. Um, and yeah, it's a bit of it if you know what answers to make to the questions, like I think there's one about if you're going to be contributing as part of a team or as an individual and stuff like that. Like you can set yourself up slightly better for success, I think, by answering in a certain way. Um, that's right, isn't it? Yeah, I think it if you go down one path, I think it forces you to create a group.
And
Um,
that's where I ran into it forced me to create a project.
yeah. So I think it's if you say that you basically want to contribute to an existing project or something like that, you can kind of swerve that. Now, how far am I going to be able to get without?
It so it forces you to actually put an email and everything, and then it asks all these questions.
Uh-oh.
That's really not good.
Okay, refresh sorted it out, but I'm just going to share that somewhere quickly just in case the internet is down. Um, okay. So yeah, I can't really see that journey right without filling out all of this stuff and getting a bit further. But
Right.
yeah, I'm sure there's a question where you can basically say like, I want to join somebody else's project or something along those lines, which swerves you having to create your own like group or project.
Right.
But it's not the best.
Yeah.
Not the best, but also like we're talking about UX a little bit there. And obviously, we've got like all these researchers and all these studies where they have kind of said, well, okay, yeah, but if somebody creates a project, they're 80% more likely to do Y or X than they are if they don't, sort of thing. So there has been like research and data-driven decisions, but it's just slightly frustrating and doesn't feel logical maybe to some of us who are just like, no, we just want the quickest path to creating an account to be able to do like maybe you just want to browse a repo or for this all you want to do is create a GitLab account to connect to your Crowdin account or your Discourse account or whatever it might be. Anyway, so proof of concept to just a few questions that kind of seem logical. And this is, yeah, just kind of started prepping a little bit before this call. So I created, I'll read that message in just a second. I created like the front end form, and we're just doing an Ajax post. I created a controller that receives the data. And I'm just spitting that data out on the console at the moment. So we'll have a look at that in a second. Sorry. Yeah, let me see what you said. Oh, yeah, very appropriate question. Based on the fact that, yeah, well, this is kind of what we're looking at the moment, actually. To try and change our onboarding process or improve or revamp or whatever you want to call it. So maybe that is a good one to add. So let me sneak that in now to our so development documentation. So yeah, I don't know what we call it like design/UX, something like that. So yeah, it's a really interesting one. Thanks for sharing that link, Jim. I'm gonna have a little look now because I haven't had a look to see what kind of issues we've got in this project. Um, because I personally would sort of struggle to answer this at the moment because I know there's plenty of times when we need UX guidance and designs and that kind of thing, but I don't quite know how easy it is to collaborate and support our kind of UX team. Also, I don't know if this is obvious or unique about GitLab, but from what I understand, UX, the department, includes technical writing and something else. Let me. Yeah, so it's technical writing, product design, and foundations or pajamas. So,
So I guess let's take a step backwards. What pajamas is pajamas is the whole design system for GitLab. So they create a Node, I want to say Node.js, but I know that's wrong. They create a project where it exports all these different components, such as breadcrumbs, such as
so
what are all
that's
the
the
other different
component
packages?
library, right?
Yes, accordions, badges, and it all is essentially like different view components that
Hmm.
allow you to help maintain and use the same appearance throughout GitLab. Instead of building your own accordions all the time, you can just import this library into your project and use it. So,
Exactly.
um,
Excuse me. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, And I really like since they've combined the design system to include the component library. Because we used to have GitLab UI, which was component library, and then we had this kind of documentation. But yeah, probably just like having a good old read on here because there's some really interesting stuff that me as a I don't know what you want to call it. Let's call me a UX newbie. Um, like didn't seem immediately logical. So the one that I try and remember as frequently as possible is the do not disable a button is what I'm going to say is the sort of rule. So my gut instinct and the way that I always used to build a form. So let me just have a look if I've got a nice example of that to hand somewhere. So always would have been like to disable this button until you filled this form out, right? But actually the guidelines say no, best practice is you don't disable the buttons, you leave them, but when they click on them, it obviously does the validation and it won't submit the form if you haven't completed the relevant stuff. So that's one of the ones that I always find really interesting. But yeah, I can't claim to have looked through all of the yeah, I don't know where it even is for. Platforms, components, forms. I'm sure it's this one. Yeah, so by default, a submit button is enabled. Do not use disabled submit to visualize form validation or if a change is incomplete. A disabled submit button can be problematic for a number of reasons. Yeah, so you can't actually cause the validation without the button there. Screen readers sometimes miss it. They have lower contrast, so they don't pop out, so you don't know where they are. I'm sure there was some other reasons somewhere I've read before as well, so it's interesting. But yeah, I would have a read. Should we just have a quick look at a few issues? I'm interested, see if there's any with quick win.
So if I guess are you more interested in the design aspect or implementing design, or I guess what are you most interested in?
Yeah, I'm actually interested in design aspect more and adding UX to it.
So I do know that there are some issues. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I've seen some issues in the main GitLab repo that are looking for like designs of different bits and pieces, like how it's going to look like. That may be a place to start with and work with one of the design people on. Um, but I think all the issues in this particular project, the design system, Lee, I think those are mostly like implement this, implement that sort of thing.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, trying to get what you're saying though.
So
I've gone through the repo yesterday, through today, and I'm still not getting the design UX part. It's basically development. So I'm trying to understand how to go around to get some projects
got
I can
it.
lay my hands on.
Can you?
Yeah.
Got it. I think what you said there is probably relevant, right, Jim? That what you're sort of saying is that all of this is like development stuff in this repo, despite the fact that it's the design system repo, it's development for it. Whereas in the main GitLab project, there's potentially some. Do you, so what would you say, Jim? Like workflow requires design or something like that?
Oh, I don't even know.
Okay.
I just know I've seen several of them asking for input from design, and I don't remember labels.
Okay. So I
But we don't
don't.
have a label like UX or something like that to.
There is, but I don't know if it. We'll have a look. We'll have a look. So let's just duplicate. So yeah, so we got this ready for design. So it'd be interesting. Maybe we'll have a look at one or two of these in a minute to see like. But yeah, I think it probably would be trying to like reach out to a designer with like almost share, say like, oh, I've come up with a design for this. Can I chat it through with a designer maybe so I guess it's something that just through doing and collaborating, you kind of figure out what are design. Well, I guess researching the design system a fair amount. But there's some that just requires kind of a bit of experience, a bit of collaboration. So yeah, let's just have a quick look at one or two. UX paper cuts ready for design. So I find ones like this a bit hard to, because it's saying like, okay, so the issue is to consider removing locked files from project navigation. So under code, how often do we use locked files? Yeah, very, very infrequently, I imagine. Check if we've got telemetry. So what I'm interested in is what conversations have been had so far. So it's asking about data. Could we remove it from the sidebar and have a link to it from the main repository page? So there's already been some discussion by the looks of it around what we could do as an alternative. But yeah, it's like for this to say workflow ready for design sounds interesting to me. Like, I don't know, because I would argue that maybe we want the data first. Although my gut instinct is definitely that there probably aren't that many people accessing it. I'm not sure, like, how do you decide when to get rid of it? Like, it's collapsed, so who cares? Like, does it matter? But yeah, do we need the data to but then that's as good as anything, right? So let's, like, I would suggest if this, for example, if you were to pick this one to ask the question, right? So we got two people that have been involved already. Annabelle opened the issue. So just reach out, just ask them, say, like, do we need data before we should start working on this?
Annabelle's the paper cut lady, not Vanessa.
Oh, okay. So let's see what it says. She's staff product designing, it's paper cuts. Yeah, awesome. So yeah, I'll ask if we need the data first, and like I would love to drill down a bit more as well, as I say, because I'm a bit kind of, does it make sense to move? Like, all that's going to do is make it harder to get to, right? So okay, great. We've got rid of one thing from the navigation menu, but at what sacrifice? Well, the sacrifice is to then get to it. For those few people, fine, it is a minority, but for those few people that need to get to it, they then need to go, right, go to the repo, then possibly some kind of context menu, then locked files. Whereas before it was just, here it is, one click, done. So yeah, I think go into a handful of issues, have a look at them, ask some questions, and kind of go from there, really. I'm going to pick one more because I'm interested as well, just to have a look. Maybe we'll pick, although a lot of them have UX on as well as workflow ready for design, which kind of makes sense, I guess. So So yeah, I'm intrigued about that one like this. So we're saying remove progress indication from get start. So Katie, so product designer on growth. So it already has a move progress indication. Okay, so we've got a bar at the top. Bit confused by. Are they saying get rid of all of this?
I've never seen that before in my life.
No, I have no idea where you get to this. Annoyingly, it doesn't include the URL. Wonder if this is where we were talking about the onboarding flow earlier on, when you create a new group, maybe, or a new project. Let's try and.
What's the difference between a group and an organization?
Oh, I didn't even see that option. So organizations are a new concept. I imagine you might not even see this menu when you're logged into GitLab. An organization is going to be like a container that's like a level above a top level group. So I don't even know exactly what is going to be contained within an organization, but imagine so
Is it more for multi-tenancy then?
yes, I think it is essentially. Yeah, exactly. It's to
Okay.
add more separation within a single instance. So let's just quickly try. Nope, just straight in. So, don't know if, like, if you've got a group with a trial or something like that, because I noticed here it says like so a trial. I don't know, but yeah, I would just encourage pick some issues, have a look at them, understand them, ask some questions, and go from there. So I'm just going to delete this project. I haven't got much time left, but I might go back to just talking about the dynamic onboarding again briefly. Right. Okay. So yeah, questions. Any other things that you think it would allow us to provide more of a sort of tailored experience? What other information could we capture or questions could we ask? Or should we, maybe, rather than could we? I guess it's not. More isn't always better, right?
I think those cover the main basis of what would be there. So I think that's good.
So we can, like, I think this is what I need to figure out in my head that can I do like so Ruby JS would like basically suggest monolith, Golang. We've got like the client Go, we've got the Terraform provider, we've got the CLI, probably some others I'm forgetting about. We've got very little for Python. I'm not even sure whether to include that or
You have the AI stuff is in Python, right?
AI gateway is the only thing that I can, think about. Oh, we might. Oh, dear.
The client Python client, because you guys own that, don't you?
Oh, I wasn't familiar with that.
Let me double check.
Um, so yeah, there's no point in asking questions if we can't do anything based on those questions. But I think that these are good ones. Definitely, like they can core GitLab project for Ruby or JavaScript, but Golang we can be quite specific.
I'm putting that there, Lee, a link to Python GitLab. I cannot tell if this is a Python or if this is.
My suspicion is read the docs.io that this isn't GitLab maintained.
Okay.
Because if it is, I would expect it to be like .gitlab.io.
Okay.
There should, so there's a link here, but this is to read the docs, is it?
I
Oh, there
think
you
so.
go. There you go. Oh, Python. I thought I saw. I think I was imagining things. Yeah, I was imagining things. Project Home. No, that's Read the Docs project. That's not what we want. Surely, like, there's always like a GitLab or a GitHub. Well, no, actually, I don't know if I've ever seen a GitLab logo, but a GitHub logo to
Maybe in
show.
fact in the frequently asked questions.
Oh, I think yeah.
Maybe,
I just look for
but I don't
source.
think it is maintained by GitLab itself, because in the API section there are only two repos, client Go and client TypeScript, at least from what I have seen.
Probably would expect it to be there, right? Ah, here we go. There's a link to a commit. There it
No.
is. So yeah.
Besides, it is hosted on GitHub, so
No, it doesn't look like
so it
doesn't
is obvious that it is not maintained by GitLab.
Okay.
So yeah, my inclination is to almost sort of, I mean, we could, but
I
like
think that
maybe we
that
should
would
do
be
other.
a better experience than compared with, at least with what I had, that I need to ask a lot of questions to Ariana. But I think in this way it is more like straightforward, you know.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. The other thing though for us, and this is where someone like Annabelle hopefully be a massive help, because they can say, well, actually, if like 80% or like a high number are going through one channel anyway, building a platform to handle the edge cases isn't always a good idea, if that makes sense. But I'll be interested. I definitely think that Golang, we've got a couple of fairly major. Oh, the runner, isn't the runner Golang as well? That's quite a,
It is. Yeah.
although
And
although I
Girali is the other one who is pretty
thank
important
you.
in Go.
Absolutely.
And the
So
CLI and the CLI.
yeah, that's that
The
one
CLI is
there.
already there.
So
One thing that at least for me wasn't clear enough at the beginning was related to the, for example, I remember that I created my first MR, and I didn't know if I needed to mention someone for it to review it, or if it would be done like, like randomly.
automatically,
And I
okay, yeah,
remember like 2 or 3 days after I created the MR, I had to mention someone to review the MR. That was something that was not clear to me at the beginning. Maybe if you could like do something about it, or at least put that info in the ticket. But
Yeah, so what the way that we try and handle that is when you've raised the merge request, we have this message that appears that sort of says, thanks you for your contribution and says request a review or apply labels by clicking here. Perhaps we could make this a little bit clearer that like we won't automatically review, although sometimes again that's it, if a merge request sits idle for a while, sometimes it does go into our queues and we will kind of reach out. But yeah, ideally you do need to proactively request a review. But I think that
And but by the way, if I click, look, I never click there where it says clicking here.
mhm,
By the way, if I click there, I can like assign the MR to someone.
you can or you can't. So that's not something that I don't think, yeah, we haven't built that at the moment. Again, we've not really had that scenario as much as we do want. So there's a couple of things we would like. Collaboration, so where we have more than one community contributor working together on a merge request. And also, I guess you'd call it like, I don't know, takeover or something like that. So where maybe a community member can no longer work on a merge request. So they unassign themselves, but then having another community member be able to assign themselves. But
Okay.
we haven't really like, again, it's what I was saying before about trying to handle the edge cases. If that happens one time a year, so let's say we
Yeah,
get
yeah,
like,
I understand.
yeah,
Definitely, this is just like to catch a big possibility, but definitely you will never catch it all. I understand.
yeah, pretty much. And again, like there will come a time where we probably do want to add that functionality, but I think initially we have assignment for issues. So I'm not sure if there's an issue, not an issue for this one. So yeah, so anyone can not that one, this one can come in and they can
Yeah,
assign
I know I
themselves
can assign, yeah.
and unassign now as well. We added that functionality, but for the merge request, we haven't done that yet. Um, so so yeah, if somebody selects development, we can show or hide that section. I think documentation will sort of point them to where the documentation is. I think this isn't there. There's some other documentation stuff we could possibly point towards as well. Design and UX is a real question mark for me at the moment. So I'd love to find out how you get on with your conversations. But we'll kind of TBC that one for the moment. So support is where I think we'll kind of so forum, Discord, and just like I don't know how like how, I don't know. Triaging.
Would you do the Ruby? I don't want to say doctor, but the Ruby thing that project that you can install and create resources for to upload to support. Do
Oh,
you know
what's
what I'm
that?
talking about?
No, I don't.
Okay, GitLab support. So they created a what's it called? They created a special project. It's similar to GDK Doctor, but what it does is it grabs statistics from your running live server
Cool.
and it anonymizes it all. So, for example, like you're running in cloud, gov cloud. I can't just send all that stuff directly over to
Yeah.
anyone. I have to anonymize some of it. So, for example, like I can't give you my host name or my usernames or things like that. It goes and anonymizes some of that data.
Oh, right.
You
Yeah.
know,
Okay.
so there is that a couple support projects like that.
Oh, cool. So I feel like if you wanted to contribute to those, though, right, that would be if your answer to the question was development, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't think if you were interested in like supporting, if you know what I mean, like my thinking is
Well,
if you're in, do you know what I mean?
yes, my thought was not necessarily give them access to that if they choose support. I'm thinking more of redirect them to that for support, if that makes sense.
Oh, you're thinking if this is more if they need support. Is that how you're interpreting
Yes, is that
this?
not what it's for?
No, I was so again, this is exactly what I was saying. Like it's just POC, but I could change the word immediately. This is more like this is because you want to contribute, right? And the way you want to contribute is either by helping with documentation, helping with design, helping by supporting people, doing
Okay.
translations, or helping by sort of sharing events and content. So it's like you want to support other people rather than you want support from other people. But that is an interesting distinction. But arguably, it could be both, right?
I didn't understand. This support is related to, for example, like I want to help people in the Discord channel.
Exactly. Yeah.
Ah, okay, okay.
Yeah. Just you want to support the community, right? So um, we, I guess we provide support for the paying customers. But even that, to an extent, I'm not really aware of what is or isn't included within that level of support. I'm guessing we don't. I don't know actually. Jim, are you sort of familiar with? Have you used it before? Do you know, like, do we do like if it's a bit more borderline, like consultation type stuff? If you're asking a question like, "Oh, how should I structure my groups?" or I want to give so and so access to this, but without giving them access to that, etc. Is that the sort of thing
I've
that?
never
Oh,
gotten past the sales stage,
okay,
unfortunately.
okay, no, that's fair. That's fair. Because I imagine there's some level, and definitely if you're a free user, um, then you're not entitled to sort of official support. So it would be like via those channels. If you were to create an issue in the issue tracker, I've seen a lot of them like do get answered, but officially they should get closed as support requests. It's I guess maybe when those lines start to blur between is that a support request or is it a bug? You know, if you sort of say, oh, I'm expecting it to do that, but it does this, then yeah, I guess that's when it needs to be treated as a bug until kind of confirmed otherwise. Um, but I think that's a good start. The next thing I need to figure out is that, yeah, how do I store this? Do we have a new table with, I don't know what you call it, like first class fields, or do we just store this as a JSON, like maybe in the user profile table? Although this is actually potentially before they've even created a user. So that's an interesting thing. Would it be acceptable? Would it be a terrible idea to um, require login before can start onboarding? So we can store we're going to call it response user profile. But yeah, I was thinking we store this, but then I think we'll have to pivot. I don't know if you're familiar. The way that it works at the moment is when you do the request access, it makes the access request, which then triggers a pipeline, which then creates the onboarding issue. I suspect if we're doing this and we're going to tailor that issue, we maybe need to change that process so that we create the issue directly from the contributor platform. One of the huge benefits of that is immediately the issue will be created and we can either redirect you or open it in a new window. Where at the moment we give you this kind of we just say that you'll be redirected, you'll make a request, and then you'll receive an email in a few minutes. So it's a bit of a weird where we throw you into GitLab, but then you're just kind of left in a bit of a void. So I do think that there will be some benefit of create the onboarding issue from the contributor and redirect or open window. Yeah, cool. Awesome. It's like I feel like some progress. As I say, I'll probably hack a little bit more to just make it proof of concept so it creates some kind of dynamic issue, maybe just with the response to this initially. And then I don't know, as a team and with the wider community support, we can figure out exactly how to map that to I've closed the onboarding issue now, haven't I? Like which bits of the onboarding issue template to map to which of these and create some new sections, I guess.
Just remember, let the people update the interests and languages.
Very good point.
Because I might not like Python anymore, or I might not like design work or something.
Yeah. But that then begs the question, like, assuming we are going to continue doing the onboarding in an issue in GitLab,
I would say we can store this into the database and just allow them to update the database.
so there's no expectation for it to change their onboarding issue.
Correct.
Cool. Yeah, no, I like that. Definitely. I don't know if it's just before you joined, Jim, but I sort of said about like based if assuming we do store this in the database, we can start to tailor a bit more like this find issues page.
Right, and that's where I was going to ask on this find issues page, we should take some of the code that we did for the label-thon and allow it to update because currently it doesn't update ever.
Oh, to be a bit more real time, you mean,
Or just, you know how anytime you would refresh the label-thon, you would get new issues? This doesn't. It's the same issues every time.
So the only real reason for that is that these are all of the issues that are currently labeled with quick win. And we're displaying them all. With the labeler-thon, there were a couple of things. So first of all, there were thousands when we started, and we were only displaying 5. So what we were actually doing, the logic is to get the first page of 100 issues and then randomly select 5 of those issues to render on the page. So that's kind of how we somewhat randomized it, albeit it was still always taking one of the first 100 based on the oldest. So that there was some logic in there, but yeah, we definitely we want to start. This shouldn't just be quick wins. This should be things that are ready for development, things that are seeking community contributions, and possibly some other stuff as well, depending on what options you chose, etc. But it's a start. It's a start. Awesome. Thank you all for joining. Great to see you, and hope to speak to you later in the week. Good luck in the hackathon if you take part.
Lee, if you can hold on for a minute.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll stay with you.
The other issue that we have, the one
Hit,
with the onboarding.
Just going to hit stop recording. So, yeah.
Is there anything you need from me from the onboarding?
Oh yeah, good point. I haven't seen an MR. So I think like one of the first things on the list is for you to create an MR on to like add yourself to the I don't know what you want to call it, like team page. So you know if am I still sharing my screen? I'm not still sharing, am I?
No.
Let me share my screen quickly. You know, if you go to GitLab.com, no, what am I doing? GitLab core team. Yeah, basically to add yourself to here. So again, as far as I'm concerned, you can be whoever you want to be, if that makes sense.
Okay.
But yeah, like just that way we can see that you're part of the team, the link to any socials you do or don't want to include, but most importantly, I guess to your GitLab profile. We should think about adding Discord at some point on tier as well, I guess. But yeah, if you could do that, I should chase Nick, I think, because I don't know that any of the access requests have been approved for Slack and whatnot. So I'll chase him on those now, and yeah, otherwise, hopefully we're ticking in the right direction.
Okay, perfect. I will take a look at that later this evening then. It was
Awesome.
just the issue, and I didn't know what was my responsibility versus other people's responsibility. So,
Think it is really just that there were two things at the top. One was the NDA, and the other one was the creating an MR to add yourself to that page.
okay. And basically just the same as how Marco did it, because I think that's where
Yeah,
or
yeah,
where it shows currently. So,
yeah. I think there's an example of a previous one. So yeah, exactly. But again, feel free to deviate and just ping it over to me, and I'll help get it over the line.
all right, perfect.